Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a bit of a story time video today. I was chatting to somebody on Instagram and I was chatting about how I tried to work for myself a few years ago and how I think I failed at it and how it didn't work out and I had to quit, and how that experience has meant that when I tried again this time, it has worked out. This person was quite shocked. They thought that I started doing this in 2019. This was my first experience of working for myself. They didn't realise that I'd tried to do it before, and I thought maybe there's a few of you that don't know that I tried to do it before. So I thought I would explain how I got here, the route I took, how back in 2017, it failed massively, and the lessons that it's taught me this time. If this is your first, maybe you're just starting a business, maybe you are struggling right now, not sure what is going to happen and what route to take, hopefully this video helps to show that failure doesn't need to be a bad thing. Things not working out the way you want it to might not be a bad thing. It could be setting you up for success in the future. So thank you so much for watching. If this is the first video you have seen, my name is Emily. I'm an illustrator. I run my small business here in Manchester, and yeah, I've tried before and it didn't work out. So let's get into it. So, to give you a bit of a backstory, I went to university in Bournemouth. I was there from 2010 to 2013 and I studied animation arts. The goal for me was to work in animation. I didn't want to be an animator because I couldn't animate very well. I understood animation, I loved it, but I knew I wanted to work in the animation sector. Is that a word? Is that how you phrase it? So I did animation. I graduated in 2013, and when all my friends were moving to London to get work, I knew I didn't want to do that. I knew I wanted to move back to Manchester. So I moved home back with my mum and started the job hunt really. This was sort of May, June of 2013, I think. Got back home and like that day I was job searching. Any animation studio in sort of a 20-mile radius, I was emailing, I was sending my work to. Turns out there wasn't many back in 2013 and I really struggled. So it wasn't until the July of the next year, a year on, that I managed to get an unpaid internship in an animation studio. So it wasn't paid. I think I was getting my lunch paid for, but that was a year of, I was kind of dipping my toe in freelancing. I was drawing pictures for people. I opened my Etsy shop at that point, selling prints, but it didn't go too well. I was doing some work for a local newspaper. I was just doing like little bits. But in 2014, I got my job. It was an unpaid internship, but I think within 2 months, I was on the payroll. So that was going really well. I really enjoyed my time there. That's where I kind of started to draw more and I became a concept artist there. And I absolutely loved my time there. I can't really complain. It was good. After a few years, it got to 2017. That job had really helped me out. I think I was earning, before tax, about 1,800 a month in that job. And kind of a good thing slash a bad thing was, although I worked in that studio, I stayed self-employed. I don't really know how it works, very dodgy, but I was invoicing the studio every month. So from 2014, I have done tax returns, so I was kind of self-employed from then and always have had. So Emily Harvey Art started then, really, even though I worked full-time in a studio. Again, I don't think it was allowed, but it happened. So I was on £1,800 a month, that's how much I was paid, and then obviously I paid tax and stuff on that. And it was great, like living in the Northwest, that was a great wage. I bought a house with my partner, things were going great. And then in 2017, I was starting to get the itch for something different. I had built up my skills and I felt really good, and I thought, I think I'm I'm ready for something new. But I knew I wanted to stay in animation. I'd done some interviews with some other studios. I'd been offered jobs at other studios for slightly more money, but there were a few issues, things with like how far away the studios were and the travel and things, and I was getting all a bit flustered, but I knew it was time to do something new. So I did the crazy thing in that I quit my job. So this takes us to when I tried to do this business the first time. It was the summer of 2017, and I thought to myself, I'm going to work from home. I am going to try and be this animation concept artist working from home. I will do portraits for people. So at this point, I'd already started the portrait side of the business where I was drawing people, and I was getting quite a few orders. So in my head, I was thinking, right, I need to do like, I don't even know how much I charged back then. I know it wasn't enough. But I thought, if I can get some animation work and like freelance work and do the portraits, I might just scrape by. I might just do this. And I just need to make the same amount as I was making in the studio. So after tax, maybe £1,500. So I went for it. Now, there are a few things I did back then that looking back, I wish I hadn't have done because it just didn't work out. So you could scroll back on my Instagram and have a look. I did use Instagram, but I mainly used Facebook. So I used Facebook, I used to post to Facebook and then it would automatically go to Instagram. I wouldn't do a post like I do now, like everything's Instagram. It was Facebook. I had my Facebook page and I pretty much relied on friends and family to bring me sales. So like portraits and things, because at this point I wasn't selling products. I was doing portraits, I was doing freelance work. So my portraits, I relied on friends and family to share my posts and bring me people. I had my portraits on Etsy, but I don't remember Etsy bringing me much business. I feel like I just directed people to purchase on Etsy. So my business was essentially go onto Facebook and try and get portraits and do the portraits and post the finished picture on Facebook and try and get more people. That was all I did. I managed to get a few animation studios on board with my freelance work, which was good. I did a few projects, but nothing felt guaranteed. I felt like I was constantly on edge, worried, like, what if work doesn't come in? There were no guarantees and I never got paid on time. It was an absolute nightmare. The other thing I didn't do very well is I didn't know what the brand was. Now I'm very confident I know what Emily Harvey art is, I know my brand values, I know what I do, I know who I do it for. Back then, no clue. I thought having a little logo and a picture of me and a nice little banner on Facebook was enough, and it really wasn't, because I was just putting work out there in the hopes that anybody would find it and buy. I wasn't targeting, like I didn't know who I was aiming my products for. And I wasn't showing the process. I was just working behind the scenes on my own and then sharing the final thing. I wasn't like taking people on the journey. People had no clue who I was. So like if you followed me on Instagram, if you followed me for a while, maybe you followed me since then, back in 2017, I don't know, maybe go and have a look. But I don't think anybody knew who I was. I never posted. I think I posted my face the odd few times, and I looked back actually and I did post stories. So stories were a thing on Instagram at this point. Over that year that I worked for myself, I think I posted my face like 3 times on stories, and every single time I used a filter that was like a funny filter or a voice changer. I think I was just scared to be me, to just be this, you know? And I think that was a massive error that I made back then. I spent the second half of 2017 working for myself. I was in my little office in my house. I was working on projects for studios, which was going well, but hard. Hard to get paid, hard to get the work. And I was doing portraits. Portraits were coming in, but again, it was hard. Every day felt like a battle. I felt like I was like justifying the prices or having to, you know, like, it was just really hard doing portraits. I've done a whole video on this. It was really, really hard. So as we were getting towards Christmas, it was starting to be a struggle. I was starting to feel the stress of, can I pay the bills this month? There was a lot of pressure on my partner to provide for us because I couldn't give that guarantee. Like when I worked before, it was a case of, right, I've been paid, I'm going to put a chunk into the joint account, don't worry, my half's done. Couldn't do that anymore. Couldn't do that anymore. I was constantly like, do I have money this week? Do I not? I just didn't know. The only positives I think that came out of that time was I got super healthy. I really wanted a baby at this point. And looking back with the money struggles and things, was it a good decision? I don't know. But I was told by a doctor that they wouldn't help me. We'd been trying for a while. They wouldn't give me any help, and they said you need to lose a lot of weight, basically. So the positive thing that came out of working for myself in that time was I was going to the gym a lot, multiple times. I was eating great. I lost the weight. I think that was the only positive thing that came out of that time, because everything else was just a struggle. I didn't look forward to waking up and going into the office. Looking back, I just remember a lot of tears in that time. So we come into the next year, which is 2018. Have I got this right? Yes, 2018. And I want to say it's maybe March, April time. I was working away. Oh, I'd done some craft fairs that Christmas, my first craft fairs, I think. I tried them, they went disastrously. I worked so hard on my table display and my banner and everything and didn't get any orders. But again, I think it's because I didn't know what the brand was. I didn't know what I wanted to sell. I didn't know who I wanted to sell to. I just had drawn things, printed them out and took them and hoped people liked them, and it's just not a good way to do it. You need to be clear, and I definitely wasn't. Anyway, the next year comes by. I am just plodding along, you know. I've started a little blog that nobody's reading. I think I've uploaded a couple of YouTube videos at this point. Nobody's watching. Not videos like this, gosh no, I would never have done that. They were drawing videos. And I think it was the March and April, I got a message on LinkedIn. I think it was LinkedIn, and it was from a girl who I didn't know, from a local animation studio that I'd applied for, you know, years ago, back when I first wanted to work in animation. And it said, we're trying to fill this role for this character designer, 2D designer on a show. We're not getting anywhere really. Would you like to apply? And it sent me the link. And this studio was a big deal. And I remember thinking, I want to, but also this goes against everything that I wanted. I wanted to work for myself, I wanted to make my own hours, and I wanted to have money, you know, and do all these things and go on holiday what I wanted. And then I realised, Emily, it's not working out. You've got no money. The time off you're having, you're not making any money anyway. You know, like it was just... So I sat down with Matt and I said, should I apply for this? I don't know the details of it, but it would mean I'll have money again. We can save money. And we decided that yes, I would apply for it. I applied for the job and instantly was sent an art test. So if you don't know, when you work for animation or any job like this, sometimes you're sent an art test. And I seem to remember this was in 3 parts. I had to design a character, I had to create a prop, and I had to... Oh, I can't remember. There was a few things. Did the art test, spent a long time on the art test. And I was invited for an interview. So I went along to this interview kind of excited, but at the same time thinking, if I don't get it, it's not the end of the world. You know, like I didn't need the job. No, I did need the job. Financially, I needed the job. But mentally, I was like, I could just carry on the way I am. I did the interview and I think 2 days later, I got the job. I got the job. Yeah, I took on this job. I basically told myself that this year that I thought was going to be the year that I build this business that makes money and gives me the freedom it just didn't work out, and it didn't work out because I don't think I put my all into it. Now that I've done it again, I look back and think, yeah, you could have worked harder. You could have worked harder. You could have wanted it more. You could have taken people along with you. I think I was a bit lazy. I thought that just by putting a post on Facebook, the orders would come in. And when they didn't, I was just like, oh, I'm not very good. Instead of just like thinking of other ways I could do it. And I mean, I was doing a blog and all these things, but I just don't think I took it seriously. I didn't realise what I was getting myself in for. So I took the job. I decided that the business didn't work. Do you know what? I had a look at my tax return for that year that I worked for myself. I didn't make much. I didn't make enough to pay tax. That's all I'm gonna say. I made some money, but not a lot. And when you go from being on a wage where you buy a house to then going to that, it's not good for your mental health. It's really stressful. So taking this job on, it was a 30 grand job. Like, that was the salary. It felt amazing. Like, instantly weight lifted. So I've chatted about this before. I won't go into it too much, but the job was a 9-month or 10-month contract. So I knew that. So I knew I had 10 months. I had 10 months of saving money. And I told myself, in 10 months, I'll try again. If they don't try and keep me on, I will try again with the business. But at least I'll have some money in the bank. This is what I told myself. Now, we decided to stop trying for our baby because that was bringing me too much stress. So I was like, let's do these 10 months and then let's see where we are financially. We'll try again. 2 weeks into the job, I found out I was pregnant. So it goes to show, as soon as you get rid of any stress and you just stop worrying about it, it can happen. Now, I don't mean that for everybody, because I know some people really struggle to conceive. But for me personally, getting healthy, taking away money stress and like all the stresses helped me massively. So this 10-month work contract became like what I did while I was pregnant. Basically, I worked right up until I gave birth. I wasn't thinking about what I was going to do after. Looking back, it's crazy. I almost just like kind of blocked out of my mind that, gosh, in 9 months time you're gonna have a baby with no job. I just kind of just ignored it. Just thought, well, we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that when we get to it. But what I was doing was still doing portraits. So I think it was because when I was pregnant, smells made me really feel sick. That was the only bad thing I had. And the canteen at the studio that I was working at used to make me feel physically sick. There was nothing wrong with the smell. I've been back since I've had Luca to visit, and there's nothing wrong with the smell. But I think when you're pregnant, like, the smell's heightened. So I used to sit at my desk through my lunch. It's probably not good for a heavily pregnant person to like sit at their desk drawing all day and then sit there for their lunch break, but I did. And I used to do portraits on my breaks just to save a little bit of extra cash. And what I decided was that I needed to build a portrait commission business that will work when I've got a newborn. I don't know if people know this. I decided to build a catalogue of characters so that when orders came in, I could build a character very quickly. So I was doing this. I've still got it. I've had a look. I built like 5 different heads in different skin tones, and I did like 10 different hairstyles in different colours and claws. And I was going to build this catalogue so that when people ordered, they can like choose what they want. This was going to be my business. I bought a domain name. It was called My Character Portrait. I even changed my Instagram, because it used to be Harvey Art, now it's Emily Harvey Art. I changed it to My Character Portrait, believe it or not, so it has changed. And that was going to be the business. I had it all planned out. I wasn't going to do anything else. I was just going to do portraits. My contract ended at work. I had Luca in the February, and I decided to have a couple of months just, you know, chilling like you do. And then I started to pick things back up. So I've kind of been looking through my history on Instagram to see things. So yeah, it was like April, May time. I decided that I was gonna go again, and I knew I'd have to do portraits because I knew I could bring in money for doing it, but I knew I didn't enjoy doing it, and doing a whole business based on that would not bring me happiness at all. I was watching a lot of YouTube in this time. I was like scrolling Instagram during this time, and that's where I started to find studio vlogs. I started to see people, women out there documenting, like creating their own artwork and their own products and sharing it with their followers. And I sat there and thought, if I'm gonna do this, I need to be all in. I'm gonna have to show people me, not just my drawings, because I tried to just do that before and nobody cared. Nobody followed, nobody was bothered. So I'm gonna do this again, but I am gonna show people who I am, the person behind the drawings, and take people on the journey of figuring it out. And that was the moment that this business started. It was May of 2019. I posted a picture to Instagram that said, I'll tell you exactly what it said. Hi guys, sorry for being so quiet. I'm going to start making a real effort to post more about the work I'm doing and behind the scenes, as well as doing blog posts again, especially now I'm a working mum. Let me know any topics you want me to cover. And you can see on the picture, I don't know if you can see the little Wacom tablet, that little logo is my character portrait. So maybe that was the plan still at that point, I can't remember. But I was serious. I was like, this is it. I am gonna post every day. I'm gonna show people what I get up to and try and build a brand. And this has to work this time because I can't go back into a studio working full time. I have a tiny baby. I can't afford nursery. We have to make this work this time. So I guess the rest is history, really. If you have followed, you can literally follow from then. I think I did my first, so I did a video, I started doing videos on YouTube like this. I did my first one, I'll figure out what date it was, but I think it was maybe May, must have been May of 2019. I showed my face, I talked on YouTube. I put myself out there massively. I was really scared, but I thought if I'm doing this, I've got to do it. I need to stop holding back and like what people think of me, and I want to do this. I know that talking about my work and putting myself out there will help me, but it can also help other people. And I just thought, screw it, I'm going for it. So I did. I started uploading videos. You can go back and watch them. And I started, I think I had 30 subscribers that I'd built up from the couple of years earlier. And I started documenting on the studio vlogs. And it's led me to here. With you watching this right now, I am so close to 10,000 subscribers, which is crazy. So that is how I have got to this point. I tried to do it in 2017/2018 and it didn't work. I tried again in 2019 when I had my little boy, and I am now 3 years on. 3 years on. I'm here in my own studio. I have a business that is doing really well, and I'm really excited for the future, but I know for a fact that it has worked this time because it failed in 2017/2018. I know that looking back and reflecting on why it didn't work has made this work this time. So the reason I wanted to do this video was for anybody that is maybe trying to do something, it's not working out, you maybe want to go back into employment but you see it as a step back. I know I saw it as a step back. Sometimes these things need to happen. Sometimes you have to try things, you have to see them fail for you to try again in the future. Take what you've learned from that and you'll do it better next time. That is 1000% how I feel. I look back on that time, although it was incredibly sad and stressful, I needed that to happen. I needed to go through and experience that for this to have gone as well as it has. So my little takeaways from this is you have to go all in. If you want something to work out, you have to put everything into it. You can't just like want it in your head but then not actually do the actions. You have to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and do it. You also need to think bigger than your friends and family. This has been a huge realization for me. So back in 2017, I relied on Facebook. I relied on my friends and family on Facebook to bring me work. Now, I don't even post to Facebook. A lot of my friends and family don't, unless they follow me on Instagram, don't know what I'm doing because I think bigger than them. I think worldwide. I'm thinking about people in Australia and America. I'm not thinking about Pat round the corner. You know what I mean? And as soon as you start thinking like that and think bigger, to me, you're going to have more success. So if you're doing, say you're doing commissions, maybe you're doing portraits for people and you're kind of asking around friends and friends' parents and asking, you know, do you need a portrait? You're so limiting yourself. Start thinking bigger. Think, how can I let people know in other countries that this is what I offer? And as soon as you start to think big, there's no limit to what you can do and the potential that you have. And then the final thing that I have learned massively from my time in 2017 to now is you can't just show people what you do, what you make. You can't just be like, hey, this is this thing that I make, buy it. That's what I did back in 2017. What I do now is show them why I make it. What are the reasons that I make it? Who do I make it for? How do I make it? And taking people on that journey and letting people in and not just saying, here's the finished drawing, here's the finished product, and just having an Instagram feed that's just these final things. You need to show people why you do it and take people on the journey. So yeah, those are the 3 big takeaways that I have from when I tried to do this business the first time to now. This video is for anybody that is out there trying to build a business, trying to work on their dream projects, maybe feeling like it's not working out the way you planned, things are against you, it's stressful. This video, I hope, is just a little bit of hope for you that it's okay to stop what you're doing, reassess, maybe go back into work, save a bit of money, try again in the future. It's all good pushing forward when through the stress and seeing it through, you know. But for me, I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to stop. And I wanted to try again in the future, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad it didn't work out. I know it's easy to say that now, but I'm so grateful for that experience because I know now what not to do. And I know when to get out, or when things aren't working this time, I recognise that, whether it's mentally how I'm feeling or financially or just anything like that, those experiences have taught me a lot now. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions on anything that I've chatted about, anything you want me to talk about more, please let me know. That would be amazing. And I'll see you again for another video very soon. Bye.